Smooth is thinking about. Can you hear me, Robert?
Yes, right.
Yeah. Smooth thinking about doing a brokerage, getting out of the truck and doing this brokerage. So.
Okay. Wow.
That's going to be the topic.
No. We're just talking about the basics of starting a brokerage, the different advantages and disadvantages to doing it. I'll just start now. I'm just going to keep it an hour. It's just Robert in here right now, and as other people, I'm waiting on Felicia to come in because she's going to explain. Because she got a little bit of training from me, and then she went to go work under a brokerage. So wanted to see, how it was. I'm not going to mention the name of the brokerage that she works under, but she's working under brokerage. So I just want to see what she's learning and the techniques and skills that she picked up. But the basic things is, the prerequisites of a broker, and then the other requirements. The prerequisites of being a broker, of course, is you got to have, your business license. Because when you apply on the FMCSA website for your broker authority, they're going to ask you for your business name. So if you don't have a business already established, now you got to go back and do that process. You got to have get your EIN number, get a business license and things like that. You call it Greater Dane brokerage or however you want to call it. But that's some of the prerequisites. So you got to have.
Yeah, I mean, just like I did Greater Dane as well as Loyal Breed.
Right. So
That is short.
yeah. So you got to have. You just got to have a few things in order before. Before you get established, and then once you get all the pre-stuff, of course, a business plan, but that's a business plan is like it's like an outline of your overall business, how you're going to run it.
Oh, yeah, I definitely know where you're coming from with that. That's how I started Greater Dane. I wrote down everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things I got caught off guard with.
Right.
It's just I'm thinking. It's a business. I'm like on my own. I didn't have, a mentor. If I had a mentor, I probably still would have had the Greater Dane until this day. But that the Greater Dane took a fall, so I started. Me and my wife started up Loyal Breed.
Right.
I started over from scratch, new truck, trailer authority, everything. Okay.
So the outline.
I would start from the bottom. I would start from being like maybe a dispatcher or a agent. That way you're building up your stuff, man. Once you get there, you'll be able to branch out by yourself. Because coming out just, flat out, just coming right out, man. If you don't have the hookups and everything, it's gonna be a little struggle. So.
Right.
Well, what did he say? I heard a little bit, but
he said he'll start off He said he will start off as a dispatcher, just to work your way up. Start off from the bottom as a dispatcher, then work your way into being a freight agent for a brokerage who's already established, so you can learn the ways and the processes. And then when you're ready to jump out there on your own, you would have already had established your own customers or your book of business, and then you just take that stuff with you. Felicia's in. Hey, Felicia.
That's just my opinion. What I would do, but what I see, going on, that's what I would do. I would just start from
Yeah. So, Felicia.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna mute myself here now.
Okay. Let me see if I can get Felicia on. She's in here. I see her on the call on the thing, but she's just. If she can unmute you. Oh my God! Will you stop playing with me?
This is a laptop going in and out.
Okay, how are you? Long time.
I'm doing good.
is you and Robert, and then I got one of my carriers who's actually considering getting out of the truck and forming a brokerage. So without mentioning the name, because I wanted to use you as a case study, or as a use case, I should say, without mentioning the name of the brokerage that you work under, because I'm no longer technically affiliated with them, but I can still get some information from you in the sense of, what are you doing? What's the process? What have you learned so far? Things like that. So you started off with me going through the freight broker training, and I didn't really train you as much as I needed to because you were already up to speed in certain things. So you since, even though you left the freight broker one-on-one training, you still have access to everything. You can come in anytime you want. But you work up. I'll go ahead and give your case.
Yes, I mean, I do still have access to the freight broker one-on-one back office, and the company that the brokerage that I'm under, I'm learning some things. I think it's been 4 weeks. It's been a month since I've been with them. Yeah, maybe a month, 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah. Well, I'm learning a lot. I've started calling shippers as of last week. I've been calling shippers, and and I'm learning the TMS system, learning to put the loads in on the TMS system and things. But it's a process for me. I don't have everything together, but it's a process.
Okay. So now when you call, so let's start with the calling the shippers first, because you are a freight agent, right? You are a broker. You are a freight broker agent. So you work under an established brokerage, getting experience, building your book of business, and eventually, if you decide to go to form your own brokerage, now you have all this experience and training, so it'll be a smoother transition. So that's where you are now. You are a freight broker agent. So as far as the customers or the shippers that you're calling, is there a certain particular way or technique that you are using that's more effective than the next one? Do you have a certain niche that you're going under, or are you just calling willy-nilly? What is the process, without divulging too much information, but what is the process?
Okay, my process is because I'm learning actually. I haven't picked a certain niche, even though I was told it's best to choose a niche. I haven't chosen a certain niche. I'm kind of willy-nilly right now because I'm trying to get the feel of using the script to say what I need to say to the shippers. And actually, I've gotten comfortable with the script, so my next step may be my niche.
Okay, so as far as the script, you are... Because there's certain scripts I've learned and actually gotten down. So, there's an echo that Robert is saying, but that's fine. Okay, Robert. Let me see. So as far as the script, the outline of the script, like what's supposed to be said as far as you introduce yourself, who you are briefly, and then you just get into the point of saying what service you can provide for that shipper. So as a freight agent, how do you sell yourself to the shipper, to your customer?
Well, I basically sell myself and letting them know that we are asset-based brokerage. That's one of the main things, and we can get things done in a timely manner, and just telling them about the brokerage that I'm under. And most of the time, and I've learned that listening to them helps.
Okay.
What'd she say? Could you translate that for me?
She said that I got one of my carriers who's considering becoming a broker, Felicia, on here. This is Smooth. He's a reefer carrier, and he was listening to what you were saying. What Felicia is saying is when you try to, as a freight broker agent, and you're going after shippers, it's typically asked of you by the broker to make at least anywhere between 50 or 100 calls, 50 to 100 calls a day to ship.
I heard about that one.
Right. So you're calling in volume, right? So that's one technique. Now, I've been told by a friend of mine who is he used to have a large brokerage. and he's local to me, and I lean on him for advice. He said that used to work in 1980, but there are certain things that should be done now that's not being done. And I'm not saying that in a way to discredit making all those calls in volume. I'm just saying you can save yourself some more work if you do it, or can at least consider another option of doing it. That's what I was saying. I'm not saying that way is incorrect. I'm just saying that there are other ways. There we go. I just wanted to put that.
I've seen a guy go online and pull up all these produce companies, and he just start calling guys from there.
Well, and see, what he may have done is that's the niche thing that I was referring to. So in brokering, there's the 4 R's, right? You research the company. You reach out, you research them. In other words, you understand who they are, what commodities they have, reach out to them, things like that.
And that's also part of it that I missed. I do research every shipper customer before I call, so I can learn. Right. I learn about what, like you said, the commodity, what type of truck they use, like a reefer, flatbed. I want to make sure I know all that before I place that call.
Right, because if you just call a person blindly just to do these volume calls, like you're calling 50, 100 calls a day, and you just cold call and you call them and say, hey, can I get set up with you? Click. Hey, can I get set up with you? Click. Hey, can I get, you know what I'm saying? If you're doing that without, now say for instance you do that and you get one that piques their interest. Okay, I'm interested in, I'm looking for a broker. Can you tell me about my company? So now you're stuck because you have no idea who they are. You just called a person based off of a list. If you haven't done your homework, so you got to research the company. You know, this is where, and I got it up on the screen here. This is where you as a freight broker will research the shipping and manufacturing companies. And this gets into the niche part and what's called supply chain logistics. What supply chain logistics is, it's a hierarchy of how freight and shipments and stuff is made and produced from the raw material provider down to the end user, who's the customer. So say one product is being made. You make the product, the raw materials that it takes to make a particular product. Then you have the raw material providers. Then you have the manufacturers. That's next in the hierarchy, right? Then you have the distributors. Then you have the wholesalers. Then you have the distributors. Then you have the wholesalers and the retailers, and then the end user, which is the customer. So there's a hierarchy in that supply chain logistics process for the end use of that product. So you can find your niche in any one of those phases. You can go after the raw material makers, you know, from the very beginning, or you can go after the manufacturers. You can go after the wholesalers. You can go after the distributors. So pick your niche in that regard. Also, too, I've noticed too, and my friend told me this. When you call potential customers, most people just ask about their outbound freight. What about inbound?
Good point.
Yeah. So ask about who's taking care of your inbound as well as outbound freight. So now you double your chances of getting business from them. Most people just ask about, well, can I move some of your freight? So they're just asking to move freight that's going out to that person, that shipper's customers. But what about the people who bring the freight to that person that you're trying to get the business from? Get a contact for that person and then call them. So now you're extending that chain. You're creating that chain link back up that supply chain process. So a lot of people don't even consider that. So we limit ourselves in that regard. But
yeah, that's a good point.
It is. So you want to do the inbound as well as the outbound. But as far as the script, you basically are. Felicia made a good point. You want to educate yourself about the company. So when you do call, you got the person say, okay, if I'm a shipper, I say, okay, yeah. Tell me about my company. If I'm a shipper and you calling me to try to broker loads for me or help me move my loads, I'm gonna ask you questions like, okay, can you guarantee or guarantee as close as possible that you're going to move my freight from where it's being picked up to where it needs to get delivered to on time. There's not going to be any damages or minimal damages because, in this industry, just, stuff happens. So pick it up on time, deliver it on time, minimal damage. And if I could call on you when I need to call on you, I need to pick up the phone and you'll be able to. So if you could do all that, if you can guarantee me that, or at least as close as possible to a guarantee, I'll consider you. So now if I'm a shipper, that's how I'm going to talk to a potential broker. And then also tell me about my company. What is my commodity? What equipment type do I use to ship what I'm trying to ship that you're trying to talk to me about brokering? If you can't answer those questions, click.
Yes, and actually what it's called, and I've learned it's called from a cold call to a warm call. That's what I've learned it's called when you know about the company. It's called turning a cold call into a warm call. And a lot of calls that I've made, I've turned them into warm calls because actually I knew people. Actually, that's what a lot of I've been doing. I know people that's within the distribution centers that I've been calling.
Right.
To get the name of the person over the logistics side of the company.
Right. The logistics manager, the traffic manager, shipping manager. So you've gotten past the gatekeeper, someone who just answers the calls and forwards you to the next person. You've gotten past that gatekeeper and gotten to the person you needed to get to. And then once you do that, you got anywhere between 20 to 30 seconds to sell yourself. Because this person, also it depends on the time of day you're calling them. If you're calling them on a Monday or a Friday, you can forget it. Because Mondays, they're just coming in for the week and they're trying to get stuff out. They don't even got time to take a call. On Fridays, they're trying to get stuff out because they're trying to meet that weekend deadline. So the best days, and this is my friend told me this, the best days you want to deal with them is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday because things are kind of like in the middle of the week and they're kind of leveled off. Monday, you just come in from the weekend, so you're trying to get everything settled, situated. And this is from a shipper's perspective. But we as brokers or agents, we're not considering that. You have to when you're calling them, you have to put yourself in their shoes. So if I'm calling you and you're a shoe. Yeah. What did you say, Felicia?
I'm sorry. I said, actually, that is true. Like I said, I'm just starting as a freight agent, and I made calls today because I wasn't on my job. I was off today, so I made calls today, but it did still help, even though the people were out or they weren't available to talk. I got the name of who to speak to.
Right. So if you can get that as the least, if you can get that, you've accomplished something. At least a name or an email or leave a voicemail, at least to have them reach back out to you. That's a successful call. You may not have spoken to the person verbally yourself, but, and then also, too, if you consider, now, cold calling is the number 2 way, in my opinion, to try to get a ship. Obviously, the number 1 way is if you can physically go to a local company that's in your area. So you Google all the companies in your area, the shipping companies in your area, and you go out to them, and then just go up to the people and introduce yourself. And you always want to go there with something, whether it's an ink pen, a pencil, whatever, flyers, business card. You never want to go to a place empty-handed. You always want to leave something behind. So.
Yeah, they got a fresh produce center that they just put up in Philadelphia too.
Right. So that's the best. So starting off locally is good because it gives you the best practice. Because now if you could do a face-to-face with that person, talk to that shipper or that transportation manager or that logistics manager, you're making eye contact. They can actually see you. You're more personable as opposed to a cold call. You're actually right in front of them. Get to shake a hand, start a conversation. You never know what's going to happen. So the cold call is number 2. That physical visit is number 1. I went into a shipper one time with a dozen of Krispy Kreme donuts. and I
that's the thing to do. Take something on there.
Robert. And guess what happened? I got them to send me give me a shipper packet.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I had the conversation. So stuff like that. Now I'm not gonna show up to their son's bar mitzvah or to a wedding or anything. I'm just saying, these are just little things. But you'd be surprised, So, but it's all about the niche, the cold calling. But getting back to Felicia's point with the script, what to say, how to introduce yourself, keeping it short and sweet. You know, what's your broker? Go ahead.
How would you come across a script or develop a script?
Felicia, can you answer that?
Yes, actually, me personally, the company that I'm as an agent under, they actually gave me a script to go by, but I turned it into my own.
Right. So you take what's structured and then you personalize it. That's basically what you do with a script. You take what's structured and practice reading that robotic stuff, and then you structure it to yourself, make it personable, and then make it personable, and then you just fill in the blanks with that person's name, because once you get introduced to who that person is, hello transportation manager, hello Bobby or whatever, and introduce yourself briefly, say who you are, and then get into getting some feed, and then you become a very good listener. You know, tell me about your company, what do you guys do, and how can I better, so, you know, how can I offer my services? You know, what's your broker setup process? Things like that. How can I get set up with you, or whatever way you say it, you know. But again, you want to be able to answer those questions that the shipper's going to ask you. Can you move my freight? Do you have the capacity to move my freight? Pick up my freight from my shipper, deliver it to my customer, who's the receiver, on time, pick it up on time, no damage. And if I can call you, I need to be able to call you when I need to call you. If you can do that, then you may have an opportunity. Send me your packet, you know. And then speaking of the shipper packet, there's certain things that need to be sent in the packet. You know, of course, the credit application, a little bit about your company, but you don't have to send a novel to them. You know, just the basics. You know, let them know your qualifications, and then that credit application and that one thing to fill out. So, but Felicia is very good, very good. How close are you to getting a shipper?
Actually, I think I'm very close to getting one next month.
Okay. Now, what?
Could you translate for me? She faded out. I didn't hear her too good.
I asked her how close was she to getting a shipper. She said she's very close to getting one next week. Now, my next question was going to be, what equipment type are you? Does that shipper use?
Require?
Yeah. Dry vans. Okay. Now, see, I've noticed that flatbeds and then reefers, those equipment types, the shippers for them are they're paying a little bit different than the dry vans. So those are the ones I'm targeting. So that's what I meant by niche. You want to go after the equipment types maybe. You'd be surprised though, sometimes dry vans, depending on what region of the country they're located in, and smooth this comes to you, it gets into that DAT trend lines and that hot market. You look up those certain areas where the freight is paying well. And I talk about that in Dispatcher 101. You look up the areas on DAT trend lines or the hotmarket.dat.com. You see the areas or the regions of the country that the freight is paying, and then you go after the shippers in those areas.
Yeah, that's a strategic plan right there.
Right, but does that not make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Right. You look at the trends, you look at the market trends and what's out there and what loads are paying and where they're coming from, the high lows, and then you go after the shippers in those states or those areas, and you still create a niche. You may go after flatbed people in those high market areas, or dry van people in those high market areas, or reefer people. Now reefer, they pay pretty good, but there's a lot of other variables involved in reefers. So and then next is the flatbed. The easiest entry point is the flatbed lumber. Even though they're the cheapest.
Flatbed what?
Lumber. The commodity type, the commodity type in the flatbed space or equipment type category with flatbed is lumber is the easiest way in because everybody's hauling lumber. That's why it's so cheap to move. That's why carriers are not willing to take them. And then the next thing is the steel pipes, the coils, the coils and all that stuff, the steel commodity, and then military equipment on hot shots and things like that. So if you're going to be in the flatbed niche equipment type space, then you would go after, I would say, like a company called like Nucor Steel. Nucor has a bunch of satellite offices all over the country. And they're a big steel corporation all over the country. You can pretty much, they're strategically all over. So you go after the steel manufacturers. If you want to just get practice moving loads, well, you're going to struggle with it if you do lumber. Because again, everybody's moving lumber, and they require 48,000 pounds, 6 to 8 foot tarps, pipes, pipe with the stakes, and dunnage, and all this other crap. So a lot of people are not willing to do that. But the steel pipes are a little bit easier in the flatbed category. In the reefer category, you got, of course, beverages like beers, and then you have produce, then you have like meat, like chickens. Well, Smooth, you know about the reefer because you run a reefer.
Yeah.
So
a lot of that beer, like, I don't like touching down on because it's like super heavy. Then they don't want to pay you anything for it.
right.
So I mainly go with like say for instance, I'm going to Kentucky right now. My thing is either go to Texas because I got a guy out there, or California. I got a guy out there as well, and they both produce guys.
Okay.
So the produce be jumping, especially around this season. I really don't like doing beer or any type of liquid drinks because, like, I got a liquid drink on here now, some Yahoo, I think they call it.
Yeah.
But I'm heading down. This just gets me closer to Texas, and the pay wasn't all that good. I only got $1,000 for this.
Right.
Pay wasn't all that super good. I dropped $400 in the tank. That left me with $600. So I didn't, it's nothing to write home to mom about. But I took the load just to get closer to Texas.
Right. And the reason why he's saying that is because from the carrier side, he understands demographics and what's paying where for his equipment type. So now, if we flip that to the broker side, we just need to know what's paying where, what shippers are paying those loads or the commodities that are paying well, and just target those shippers in that particular equipment type. So you find your niche in that. I was going to show you guys also too. I have a shipper database on the. I didn't even realize there was a shipper database on the dispatching side. It's called Load Solutions. So I'm in it now. Smooth, I'll send you the link to this YouTube video later on so you can watch it. But
you could do that for me if you could, please.
Yeah, so the shipper database, I'm going into my search shipper database. So what state are you in, Felicia?
South Carolina.
Okay. So I'm going to look, and you see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to look at South Carolina and just search shippers, not even a city, not even a radius, just search shippers, and it's going to put it in alphabetical order, right? So all these, so you got 52 pages. I'm gonna order it instead of 25 per page. I'm gonna put it in 150 per page. So now you got less pages. So 9 pages at 150 per page, and it's in the order. It's in alphabetical order by cities. So if you click the first one, the details of it. It tells you what the commodity is, non-ferrous castings, 100 employees, where it's located. You click the details, you got the address and everything, and you got a contact, a phone and fax. So you can essentially go through this whole list for your state alone. Or you could look at cities close to you and go after, you could maybe make local visits to Robert, it's in the back office of Dispatcher 101. Not Freight. I'm gonna put it in the back office of Freight Broker, but it's in the back office of Dispatcher 101 under the load boards. It's called Load Solutions. So let me start over here. Let me log out and show you exactly where it's at. Okay. So I'm gonna go to Dispatcher 101, load boards under Module 2. Click that. And those who are dispatching, you're familiar with this area. And you just click the load boards, right? Click it in there and there. And you go to, I'm going to go back. And there it is right there, Load Solutions. You hit the link. It opens up another tab. And it already has my login credentials in it already with the username and password because I know because I paid for the subscription. So And look, it got other websites too. If you want to get a carrier authority, there's a link for that. If you want to get a broker authority, it has a link to the freightterminal.com, hotshot carriers, step debt carrier. So this is a plethora of resources. So say you want to get a broker authority. I'm going to open up another tab before I even show the shipper database. You want to get your broker authority. Look, it's taking you directly to an area to get your broker authority. Your motor carrier authority is $515, and that includes the filing fee and the BOC3. Your broker authority is $515, and it includes the filing fee and the BOC3. You click the link for the broker authority or the carrier authority, and it takes you to another area. So I didn't even realize that all this is an extra resource. So this little Low Solutions is so resourceful, I'm doing it a disservice. I need to go back in dispatcher training Monday and go over that. But I didn't even realize that this account that I have is such a valuable resource. But let's go back to the shipper database. And I'm going to put this in the back office of the broker side too. So South Carolina, if you don't mind, Felicia, what city are you close to in South Carolina? Like what major city?
Florence.
That's why I was ready to say that too. That was on the tip of my tongue. Okay. Florence, South Carolina, shippers. So we got 2 pages, 25 per page. I'm going to put like 75 per page. So 75 per page, so it's 1 page, about 75 results on the page. So these are all the shippers that are close to you. I guess Florence is about, what, 100-mile radius of where you actually live? So
15 minutes.
Oh, 15 minutes. Look at Robert saying, oh, my God. You see this resource, Robert? This is crazy. I didn't even realize this. You know what we can do with this? I was wasting. So all these shippers, we can either do this from the carrier side for our dispatching. We can go directly to the shippers and bypass the brokers. Or if you're playing the part of a broker, you can go to the shippers and try to sell your service. And I'll do that next. St. Louis, Missouri. So now we go through this, and we're looking at all these shippers, their commodities and everything, and you got the details, how many employees they have, what their commodity is, and their phone and fax, their website, everything. So you can essentially just stay local and look at all these shippers. You can get some good shippers just within your region and possibly run a successful brokerage right there. And there are different commodities. Yeah, pharmaceuticals, distributor of pork and beef, canned goods. So you can based off the commodity, you can determine the equipment type that is going to go in, right? So you figure daily newspaper, publishing and printer, you know, that's dry freight. So that's a dry van, possibly. You got distributor of beef and pork, and canned, you know, that could be a reefer. You know, then you got steel, metal, fabrication. Obviously, that's a flatbed. So you can distributor of beer. So you got all this options. So I'm not sure if you're using this resource, Felicia, but this is a good resource. You drilled it down specifically to your locale, and you can drive around to them. They give you the physical address. You can drive around, call, set an appointment with the transportation people, go in there and talk to them face to face. You got 75 shippers right in your local area. So let's do a search again. Let's do Roberts, St. Louis. Okay, I'm about to spell it correctly. St. Louis. And then the abbreviation for Missouri, I think is what, MO? MO, yeah, MO, okay. So I'm not even doing no radius. I'm just going to hit shippers. You ain't got no shippers in your area?
Wow.
What's out there, Robert? Farmland? I tell you what, I'm just gonna put Missouri and not St. Louis. So you're still in the area. So now there we go. We got 80 pages, but let's put 150 per page. So now you got 14 pages at 150 per page, and it's in alphabetical order of the cities. So there you go, Robert. Robert, you purchased a low list for $100?
Wow.
But you got this resource now. You got the commodity, you got your state, and any cities in alphabetical order that's close to your state, Robert. You can either physically go visit. Okay. So now here's another resource for you now here, and it may be better than what you have or it may not, but it puts it in alphabetical order of the cities in your state, telling you the commodities, and this is up to date. This is not no low list that could be expired from 2 weeks ago. This is current, and it gets.
Where you get that from?
I purchased it. It's freightterminal.com, but it has. You purchase one subscription and it gives you 4 different options. It gives you hotshot carriers, it gives you freight terminal, it gives you load solutions, and it gives you step debt carriers. And it gives you the ability to get your own motor carrier authority, your broker authority. I just showed that a few minutes ago, but all that other stuff. So
wait, would I just download it? Like, how does it work?
No. You can. I'll give you access to it. It's not a problem.
Oh shit! All right, cool.
Yeah. It's not a problem. So Robert, so for you, all these cities in alphabetical order. So what city are you close to? Let's see. What city? Let's see. St. Louis. Because you said St. Louis, but there was nothing in St. Louis. And I'm gonna go and see if we can find something in St. Louis. We're in the C's now, so let's go to the last and see if we get close to S's. Okay, so W. Let's go back to previous. Oh, there we go. So when I did it by itself, St. Louis, it didn't show anything. You got Hazelwood. Okay, we got St. Louis right here, though, Robert. So I'll do Hazelwood next, but St. Louis is right here. Look at all these St. Louis's. You got St. Peter. St. Louis is right here. And look, it puts it in alphabetical order of the city, and then each shipper in the city is in alphabetical order. You see that? Look at that. So in St. Louis, the shippers are even alphabetized.
Candy, bro.
That's like candy, ain't it? Like candy. Yeah, that's like candy. Oh my goodness, that's like opening up toys on Christmas Eve. So
we gonna eat.
yeah, we about to eat. Like that movie Paid in Full. Everybody eats, B. Everybody eats.
I remember that throwback.
So St. Louis, look at all these look, I'm on the next page, all St. Louis. Look at that. And the companies are in alphabetical order. So we're moving up. We're in the M's in the city of St. Louis, Missouri, and we're just in the M's and L's. We got Lowe's and all this other stuff. So let's go back to the previous. I didn't even realize how powerful this resource is.
Right.
So we got all the E's, F, G's, H's, I, J. We were just left the M. We're going back up, all the way back up to the A's, the A's of the shippers' names of the city of St. Louis alone. You see what I'm doing? We're still in St. Louis. Now we're working our way. So St. Louis is about 4 pages long of shippers, and it starts right here, AA imports, and then you just work your way down. So then you said Hazelwood too, right? So that's powerful. So Felicia, this might be a good resource for you too.
Yes, I see. I would definitely be using it.
And especially those that are close to you, you can physically go visit them if you don't have the fear of doing that, and then you could call them.
I'm gonna build up to that.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go to Hazelwood. Well, not next. I'm sorry. Previous. Because we're in St. Louis. Previous. Sedina. North. M's. K. H-I-J-K. Okay, H-I-J-K. So we're still in the K's. Previous. Hazelwood. So there go Hazelwood, Robert. So Hazelwood's right there. Let's go to the previous page and scroll back down and see where Hazelwood starts. Toward the bottom of this one. There we go, Hazelwood. So we got Hazelwood all the way down, and then it goes to the next page. and it continues on the next page, Hazelwood, all the way down to right there. So you got about a page, you got about a half page on one and a quarter page on the next page of Hazelwood. So you can target you can target Hazelwood specifically. You see what I'm saying? And again, this is a fresh shippers list. It's a dynamic website, which means it's updated daily. So, I mean, and you can do one better. You get the details from this, and you could Google the company, go to their website, and Google the company, and see, you know, if what you Google match, because you know Google is dynamic and it's updated daily because it's Google, right? So you can go and see how dynamic it is. Compare Google's. I'm in Google Chrome, so obviously compare Google's to their website, and you know, I don't even know why I said that. I'm in Google Chrome. It doesn't matter. I'm in Google Chrome. That's just a browser. So don't read nothing into that. I could be in Internet Explorer. So what, right?
It's not on the right-hand side. I want to see what's going on in my
Yeah. All right. So now I'm gonna do Smooth's Philly, right? Smooth Philly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So let's do Philadelphia, PA. So this is a powerful resource that I didn't even utilize it to its potential. But now that I see, oh yeah, so
do you have to keep on upgrading that like every month or something?
No. You just pay for the. I'm paying a monthly subscription for it to to have access to it. Yeah. Okay, so we're in Philly now. We got one of 9 pages, but it's 25 per page. I'm gonna increase the number on the page, 75 per page. So it's 3 pages at 75 shippers per page. So that's what? Let's do the calculation. That's 150. That's 225 shippers in Philly. Because 3 times 75 is 225, right? So you got 225 shippers in Philadelphia alone, and Philadelphia's a big city, so you can either drive locally to them to meet them yourself, or you can cold call them. So, and the same process.
Right back. Let me answer this call. I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I bought a computer for Pennsylvania.
Yeah. If you put in the state of Pennsylvania itself. I'm going to take out Philly and just leave PA as a state. That thing's going to be huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back. That's one of those prank calls.
Okay. So we took out, Smooth, we took out the city of Philadelphia and just put Pennsylvania, and we got even more hits for shippers. So
really?
Yeah. So you can go after, so let's do this. Let's see if we can drill down even better. Let's say Pennsylvania, and let's choose a commodity like for a reefer. What's a commodity for a reefer that you haul? Let's say produce, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's put produce. So now we're getting more specific. So hopefully Felicia's watching this and Robert is watching this as well. So now you can get commodity specific, right? So
watching.
Yeah, so we're gonna put not Philadelphia but Pennsylvania for produce. All the produce shippers in Pennsylvania. Uh-oh, you don't got no produce. You got no produce.
What happened?
So let's do this. Let's do.
You have to reword it.
Let's do
specific wording.
Huh?
It's probably specific.
They got a produce company right there on oh shit, I forget the name of the yeah, it's a big ass company that do produce down there.
Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna put Philly in there. I'm gonna put the specifics because it says note. It has a note. Choose specific city only option when searching for companies in larger cities in the radius. So let's do that. Note: leave the commodity blank unless you are just looking for a particular kind of company. So if we say produce and we put in specific, let's say 50-mile radius of Philly. So maybe not produce. But I did put beverage in there. You're not doing beverages though, right? Smooth.
I try to stay away from it because it burns up my fuel because it's so heavy. You know what I mean?
Okay, so what about so other than produce and beverage, what other commodities Well, you can.
I mean, I haul some dry stuff.
Okay, so
I haul rebar and all that good stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave it blank then, so we can because you can turn off your TCU off and run it as a dry van, right? So
yes.
Yeah. So let's do that. So we're back to square one, essentially. So we do 75. It's going to turn to 3 pages, 225. So now we got all the cities. We got a specific city, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we got 225 shippers. So you can either go after them as a broker agent, or with your truck Smooth, you can go after them as a carrier and bypass the broker. You can say,
yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, because the broker takes about 25. What is it? 25? No, 50%.
It's supposed to be 10. It's supposed to be 10 to 15 or 15 to 20. One of those numbers.
But
they
take more than that.
Of course. Yes, of course. So you got an option here. So, Robert and Felicia, you guys got any questions? I think somebody else joined in. Charles. Charles and who else? Oh, Darius. Hey, Darius and Charles. Charles, Charles or Darius, what state are you in? What city and state are you in, Charles? Type it in there for me, please. We have a new resource that we're using to go after shippers in your specific area. So, but Philly is okay, Louisiana. So Charles said Louisiana. So let's go to Louisiana, and it's good that we're doing it more than one time, so everybody can get a feel of how to use it and navigate it. So let's hit search.
Charles, you're gonna have to like walk me through that once I get time.
Oh, definitely. You already know. That goes without saying. You know it. Yeah. So let's choose. Let's delete Philly and let's choose Louisiana. Okay. What city? Do you just want the state of Louisiana? Okay, Baton Rouge. He typed it in. Okay, Baton Rouge. Okay, so Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Let's see what we come up with. Search shippers. Okay, so you got 4 pages, 25 per page, so that's 100. So you got 100 shippers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana alone across different equipment types, Charles. So, and then you can just choose any of them, hit the details, and it gives you a phone number, fax number, website, and the address, the physical address of the company. So you can and their commodity. They are this particular company, Acoustical Specialties and Supply. They are a distributor of acoustical wall and ceiling panels and fiberglass insulation. So that could probably go into a drive-in. So if you read the commodity, you can kind of determine what equipment type it goes into, right? So, so you can, if you have a equipment type niche, you can just target specific shippers in your drilled down specific city and state that you want to go after. So you say you want to go after just drive-in shippers in Baton Rouge. You can just look at the commodities and say, okay, that can go in the drive-in, that can go in the drive-in, that can go in the drive-in. Just choose one. Like newspaper publishing, you go over to the details of that, get their information, call them, reach out to them, do your cold call. If they're local to you, consider driving to them, talking to their transportation or logistics or manager, and starting a conversation like that. Shake a hand, start a conversation, make eye contact like that, or cold call. It's completely up to you. But the more local they are to you, let's do mine. Let's do Virginia. Let's say Norfolk, Virginia.
Hey, you could send.
Huh? What you say, Smooth?
I said you could just do a walk-in with those with the logistics.
Yeah, what you can do is walk into they usually have like a reception area where the gatekeeper usually sits, like a reception person, and you just ask to speak to someone, who's in charge of logistics or in shipping and receiving or transportation or traffic manager, and they'll say, yeah, that's Bob. Let me call him to see if he's available and because you're physically there. Now, if you were calling on the phone,
exactly.
if you call on the phone, they'll just say I can connect you to his voicemail if they're not available.
Exactly.
Even if they're not available, if you physically walk in there, you can say, okay, let me leave some information for him, and here's my information, and you give me his information, email address, contact information, and you just leave. And then reach out to them another time. You've left something for them, and, you know, so you've done something there. So now I'm in Norfolk. I got 50 shippers because you got 2 pages at $25 per page. So I got 50 shippers specifically in Norfolk. Now I got other cities, of course. Like I got Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Suffolk. You got across the water. You got Newport News, Williamsburg, Hampton. You know, so there's plenty of shippers in where I'm at that I can physically, and I'm by a boatload of military bases. You know, CIA headquarters, Langley, all the naval, NOV, Little Creek, Amphibious, Fort Story, Fort Eustis, Fort Monroe. You know, I got all these different places I'm around. So can you imagine? You know, I just literally haven't had the time to do it. But
that military equipment pays.
Right.
Did that like one time in my career.
Right. So imagine. So we've been on here about an hour, and look what we've accomplished. We've discovered a resource that we can use more effectively. I just want to stay on here from 6 to 7. I didn't want to hold you guys up too long. I just want, but look what we've done. This is something that I didn't realize the value in this. So. Any questions before I get ready to get off? And it is recorded, so and I want to thank Felicia too for her input of what she's doing.
I have a question. Where can I pick up a script? Do I go on the internet? Do I have to talk to a certain? You know what I mean?
No, I can send you. I got a script. I got a script in the back office. Charles Adair, this is in the back office of Dispatcher 101. I'm going to put it in the back office of Freight Broker 101. So yeah, it's going to be in the back office. It's going to be under the let's see. I'm gonna put it under either Module 1, Customers and Shippers, or I'm going to put it under Dealing or Booking Loads. I got to find a place to put it at effectively, so you guys will know where it's at, or maybe under Tools and Resources. That's what I'll put it at. Tools, Resources, and Documents. I'll put it under Tools, Resources, and Documents. So you'll go there. You'll see a link to Load Solutions, and then you'll be able to go to it from there. To answer Smooth's question as far as the scripts, I can see you, let's see, Customers and Shippers. I think it's under there. Should be, yeah. So, no, it's not under Customers. It's under Dealing with Shippers. There we go. So I got, yeah, so cold calling, I got a generic script under here, and we'll go from there. So it's just,
I will send it to the email.
Yeah, I can send it to which one, Greater Dane or Denise?
No, Denise at loyalbreed.net.
Okay. Yep. I got the script when you get past the gatekeeper. You know, I got the script when you call the actual shipper to call script example, and it's just a generic one. But you wanna, and I got the responses you give that when you get certain replies from them, I got the responses for that. So, so yeah, I can do that for you, Smooth.
Oh man, gladly appreciative because something gotta change.
Yeah. So I need, matter of fact, I need to make a note of that. Send you the script, and I gotta put Load Solutions in the back office of Freight Broker 101. So there we go. All right. So and then Darius, are you okay? Who's 225 area code? I'm assuming that's Darius. No, I'm just people who called in. I'm trying to see who that is. And Darius, you got any questions? Oh, Charles is 225. Okay. Got it. Robert's out. All right, guys. 3 minutes to 7. That's fine. I can get off now. We can have a good weekend. I won't be available tomorrow. It is my 4-year anniversary, so it's wife time. So.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I gotta, celebrate that. But
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I got one coming up next month, so I don't know where I was thinking about sliding out to a beach or something. I wanted to slide down to Jamaica right quick, but I ain't got the time for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't slide nowhere. If I could, I'm gonna slide on if I can slide on a dollar bill, I can. If I got a dollar bill as a or some kind of currency, slide on the currency.
Same situation, man. I'm trying to get this chicken. I told you what my goal was.
Yeah. So.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. And I'm gonna try to be there with you along the way for as much as I can.
No, without a doubt.
So
without a doubt. I mean, we come from the bottom on up, right?
Yeah,
how long we've been knowing each other for over 18 months?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's been a minute. And
almost 2 years.
Yeah, you've been one of the carriers that stuck with me as a dispatcher when I didn't know jack about dispatching, and I learned. Then I learned as we went.
It sounded like you knew what you was doing. I was like, this guy's good.
So, but over time, and that's a testimony to the relationship that you build from the independent dispatching side with your carrier. As you guys work together over and over again, you kind of learn each other. Now, from the freight broker side, you want to do that with your customer, which is the shipper. You want to build that relationship with them so you guys can depend on each other. Smooth. Robert wants to know, have you hauled eggs before?
Eggs, I haul eggs for a different company. I didn't have a truck or a trailer or authority.
Okay. So what's your reason? No, what's it, you want to know, like, what was the experience like in doing that, Robert? Him hauling eggs, or what was the underlying question for that?
Well, they don't haul on spring ride, air ride only.
Air ride only.
That's their major thing. You gotta have air ride.
Okay. Yeah. So is that the reason?
That's another thing. Like certain delicate parts, like computers and eggs and things of that nature. If a dude go in there, I mean. I haven't seen a spring ride trailer in a while, but they are out here. Like they're not going to load you.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Yeah, air ride. So for eggs, it's air ride as opposed to springs. You can imagine with springs, you bouncing everywhere. You're gonna have scrambled eggs by the time you get to your destination.
Yeah, exactly. So with a lot of delicate parts. They like motor parts, you can have spring because it's not going anywhere. But like computers, flat screen TVs, they require air ride. Because
it's a smoother. I'm assuming it's a smoother transit with the air rides as opposed to the.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even when you drive it, you feel. I went from when air rides started getting popular. It's a total different ride. It's like you're riding on clouds.
Right. Okay. Any more questions, guys? We can get ready to enjoy our weekends, and of course, let me put my number. I always put my phone number in because you guys should have my phone number locked in at this point. But I put my phone number in. Now tomorrow I won't be accessible because of the anniversary, but of course Sunday and then the following week. So, but there you go. If there's no more questions, I'd like to thank everybody for showing up. Felicia, thank you for your input as far as what you are doing working under the brokerage that you work under and the experience. Now with the TMS system, you've gotten experience with that TMS system, Felicia, with entering in the load?
Yes, I have.
Okay, because the process with that I know of, and correct me if I'm wrong, if once you get a shipper broker agreement, and you find a load, they'll send you their loads, right? They'll send you their load list or however they send it. Now, if you have a sophisticated TMS system where you are EDI enabled or EDI capable, what that means is there is an electronic data interchange. There's an integration between the shipper and the broker where that data is synced from the shipper's load tender right into your TMS system, so you don't have to manually enter in a lot of stuff. The only thing that you may have to change is the shipper's name when you produce the rate confirmation. The shipper's name to your brokerage, and then the load amount that you're going to sell to the carrier when you produce the rate. Because obviously you're not going to have the same number that the shipper's selling the load to you for the carrier, because you won't make any money. So so some companies are EDI enabled, others are not. If you are not, you're going to have to manually enter that information in from the load tender of the shipper into your TMS system to produce the rate confirmation that you're going to give to your approved carrier or your asset-based carrier. So is that something that am I on point right there, or is there anything else that I'm missing?
You're on point.
That's correct. Okay. So then, in the process of producing a rate confirmation in the TMS systems, depending on what TMS system is, a transportation management system, it's a combination of a CRM, which is a customer relationship management, and CMS, which is content management. There are a combination of those two in what's called a TMS system, transportation management system. What it does is it keeps your carrier, shippers, assets, accounts, reports, all that stuff in one centralized repository location. Also, when you're producing a rate confirmation for your approved carriers or your asset-based carriers, you also produce other documents, blind rate confirmations, BOLs, other things like that. So you only take what you need to use and leave everything else in that load tender build for a later time. So you may need that BOL in the beginning, and most BOLs are 3-layered, like carbon copy 3-layer. BOL is the bill of lading. Smooth, you're familiar with this.
Yes, sir.
They're 3-layered. You'll go to your shipper with the BOL. They'll load the truck, make sure everything is accounted for, all the pallets are on there. They'll sign their shipper side. You sign to confirm that it was loaded. They tear that sheet off, keep for themselves. Now you got 2 sheets left. You're driving from that point to your destination to deliver. You get to the receiver, you deliver, they're going to offload it. Make sure everything's accounted for, all the pallets, check for damages. If there's damages, they'll notate on the BOL. Otherwise, they'll put the receiver signs their area. You sign the area that you confirm that everything was received in order. You tear that off, get that to the receiver. The last sheet is your copy, your BOL. Now, you can either upload that or send it to your broker so you can get paid, or however. Is that right or not, Smooth?
Yeah, I factor mine in, so I get I pay like a 3%, but I get paid. I don't care how much money it is. If I do it for $6 grand, $7 grand, they take 3% of that and cash me out the following day. Now, here's the question I got that you could cover with your guys. What about pickup numbers? Who and where do you get pickup numbers from to have the little pickup to begin with?
It's originated from the shipper, from the customer on the load tender. It's PO numbers. Pickup order numbers, is BOL numbers. When you build the load, you're creating a BOL number, and it could be similar to the pickup numbers on the load tender, but it's originally generated from, because once you as a freight agent or a broker tell your shipper or your customer, hey, I got a carrier for this specific load that I posted that's interested in this load, they're going to say, okay, I'm going to send the load tender. Either they're going to send it manually through the email, or they're going to send it electronically through EDI, electronic data interchange. However they send it, it's going to get sent. So now the number is in there, and then once you build your rate confirmation for that approved carrier for that load, now your BOL and your pickup numbers could be similar. It could be a random number chosen, but most times I think it's similar to the load tender number and the BOL number. So, now, Felicia can correct me if I'm wrong on that, because I think I'm assuming that you've done a load tender and created a rate con from that. Right.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Have you done a load tender to make a rate con? Have you done that process before in the TMS system?
I've practiced because I haven't gotten my own shipper yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you noticed are the load tenders? Well, I guess you can't really determine from a practice, but I was going to ask, are the load tender BOL numbers will they be similar when you produce the rate? I'm assuming they are. When you produce the rate confirmation, the numbers should be the same. Because I think they are, because you want to identify the correct load that's associated with that tender. You have to, the BOL. So
everything can be mixed up.
Right, well, everything can be mixed up, right? Because how is the receiver supposed to identify the load, or how is the shipper supposed to identify when you go pick it up, and then the receiver is supposed to identify to prove that you delivered that correctly if the numbers aren't the same?
Right.
Right. Okay.
It's different at times. Load numbers are different.
Okay. Right. So the pickup number is associated when you picked up from the shipper, and the load numbers is different from the load.
Right.
Okay. Okay. There you go. So, and I'm glad you guys interjected, because I'd rather get real world, real carriers who actually do this, so we can confirm how it's done correctly. Right. So, all right, guys, I think we learned a lot here, right? That resource is the major thing. That remote solution, I got to put it in. I'm gonna put it in probably Sunday. Tomorrow I'm gonna spend the day with the wife, but I'm gonna put it in Sunday. And
pulling it up tonight when I get home.
I'm glad you showed me that.
Yeah, because now you can drill down in your specifics. You can start small in your area, your locale, and then branch out as you build your shipper base up. And then think about niche. Think about the niche you want to decide. What equipment type you want to choose as a niche. What commodities of that equipment type you want to choose within that niche. You know, and then make your 50 to 100 calls within that niche, as opposed to making 50 to 100 calls all over the place and you're spreading yourself thin. Get a niche, and then build the niche, and then make the 50 to 100 calls within that specific niche. But do the research before you determine the niche. What equipment type? Where's the hot markets at? Go after the shippers in the hot markets in those states for that equipment type, for that commodity. So now you're drilling down and you're getting more specific, and you're mastering that. So now it makes it a little bit more, I don't want to say worthwhile, but it makes it more, effective that way, in my opinion. Now everyone else has a little bit more organized, more centralized. You know, it just makes sense to me. That's all. It just makes sense.
No doubt.
You know. So, all right, guys. Okay, we all good? Go ahead and get off smooth. All right, guys. Enjoy your weekend. I will see you guys next Friday for the freight broker class, and then Monday for dispatcher 101. Okay? All right, Smooth. I'll talk to you later, too.
All right. Hey,
yeah.
You gonna send me all the info Monday, right?
Or before. Text me on Sunday as a reminder, too, because, you know, I may have gotten in trouble by then, so.
All right, my G. I'll hit you up Sunday, man. Peace.
All right, peace.
All right, man.
Hey, Doc.
Right.
Hey, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah. You talked to Allen lately? Tim Allen?
I have not. I need to reach out to him because he's mainly hot shots and he's mainly on Friday, Saturdays. It's hard to find him lows on those specific days, but I haven't reached out to him. But I can reach out to him. I'll reach out to him and say what's going on. What you're doing out there? What's happening? You have any luck? Things like that. So.
Right. Okay.
So I'll probably reach out to him Sunday just to see what's going on with him and how's it going, and then see what he wants to do.
I know saying his girlfriend is. You were saying his girlfriend is up in your area. She live up in your area somewhere.
Yeah, I think he mentioned that because he was trying to move out this way. I think he said Richmond. I think.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, because if it's Richmond, she's an hour and a half from me. Okay. She's an hour and a half north of me, so.
Right. Okay. All right. Great.
All right. All right, guys. Salute. Have a good one. Peace.